Coming up this week, Jeff Johnson wraps up his week-long trip with the new Jayco Millborn along the Michigan Upper Peninsula. And do you know how old your tires are? Really? Even though you may have just bought them, they could already be a couple of years old. Jeff answers a viewer's question on how to read the manufacturer's code on your tires. And saving space in an RV is always job one, especially in the kitchen. This week, Evanne Schmarder shows us some great new kitchenware from Smart Space Cookware that not only saves space, but you'll love cooking with. These stories and more on this week's Rollin On TV. Closed and Spanish captioning, where available, is sponsored by Jayco. At Jayco, we've been making family dreams come true since 1968.
A short time back, we began our RV adventure in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, or UP. Historic sites and great camping are big draws in the UP. This week, we continue that journey with a stop in Ishpeming at the Cliff Shaft Iron Mining Museum. Well, the iron and copper mining industries were vitally important for the development of the UP back in the early days. Both of those industries are mostly gone now, but visitors to the area can come to places like the Cliff Shaft Mining Museum here in Ishpeming, Michigan, and take a look at what life was like in the mines back in those days. They can also see some pretty interesting equipment, like this big guy here.
This was an iron ore mine. It operated from 1868 to 1967. It went underground. When we first started mining, it was all open pit. Then they found better ore underground, so they went underground in shafts. And then today now, after the underground mines closed, we now have open pit mines. So this was an underground mine, a very deep one. Well, we have a lot of equipment that was here before. We also have a production truck that comes from the Tilden mine, an older truck, a smaller truck really. Then we also have this area that we're in right now has all mining history and artifacts. And then we also have a rock and mineral room that has over 800 specimens of rocks and minerals. Well, that bucket is a smaller one. It was probably used in the 1990s. And it'll probably, if you go out to the mines right now, the buckets that they're using are probably 3 or 4 times this big. A lot of the people who work at our museum are volunteers, and they have a connection with mining. Our director was even an underground miner, and many of the volunteers either have some connection to mining. This is my father here, and he worked at this mine until it closed in 1967. And he worked for Cleveland Cliffs Iron Company for 35 years.
The Cliff Shaft Museum includes a variety of restored vintage buildings plus equipment displays from the glory days of iron ore extraction. Structures first built by skilled Scandinavian stonemasons have been painstakingly stabilized and restored by local volunteers. The Cliff Shaft Museum is one of many such mining-related attractions in the UP. Travelers will find most UP highways well planned and in good condition. Until you wander far from the beaten path, you'll find the driving is easy in the UP. A short side trip down the road found us in the town of Lance. Many UP communities are positioned next to a waterway, in this case the south end of Keweenaw Bay off Lake Superior, and that adds to their recreational possibilities. We visited off-season, so the marina wasn't very busy, but it was still a great time for a frolic on the beach. En route to our next stop, we paused in historic downtown Houghton to enjoy the vintage architecture. Stone buildings, many built from locally sourced materials, have stood the test of time and are a refreshing change from the bland sameness visible in so many towns. Houghton is just across the Portage Canal from Hancock, and they're joined by a classic design lift bridge. Our walk fired up an appetite, so we took a lunch break at the Pizza Works. Yes, it was extra good.
This is Maui Wowie Pizza from Houghton Pizza Works, and it's great.
While in Houghton, we ran across a place that was a welcome relief to our microbrewery-loving palates. The Keweenaw Brewing Company made a fun and tasty pit stop. As Oregonians, we're blessed with the luxury of an awful lot of microbreweries. During our trip to the UP, we ran into this place, the Keweenaw Brewing Company, right here in beautiful downtown Houghton. This is an oatmeal stout. Smooth and delicious. Gives us a little bit of strength to do what needs to be done on the rest of the trip. Our favorite campground of the trip was the Sunset Bay RV Resort and Campground. Easy parking and a well-laid-out campsite that's right on the Lake Superior shore make for a fun visit. The fantastic sunset views can be enjoyed from the comfort of your own campfire. The Quincy Mine Hoist Museum, just north of Hancock, is a must-stop destination when visiting the Copper Country. A docent passed along a few words about the museum while our brave Miss Pamela headed underground for the mine tour part of the visit.
The Quincy Mine Hoist Association is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving, interpreting, and educating folks about this amazing part of our American heritage. The first thing that visitors will see upon coming up to Quincy will be our iconic No. 2 shaft house, erected in 1908. Beyond that, our gift shop, which was the old blacksmith shop. From there, they'll wend down to the hoist house, where they'll see the world's largest steam hoist ever made. At that point, they will continue underground, taking a ride down a cogwheel tram, one of 3 in the United States, a very unique vehicle. At that point, we will go 2,000 feet underground to visit the historic part of the mine and look at how things were done back in the 1850s. The whole tour, depending on what people do, takes about an hour, hour and a half.
We'll continue our tour of the UP and Quincy Mine Hoist Museum right after these words from our sponsors. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Thetford's tough new Titan sewer hose is virtually uncrushable. Ever had your sewer hose run over by an RV? Watch Titan bounce back. Titan hose is made of Thetford's proprietary blend of TPE and provides the highest degree of puncture and abrasion resistance. It has an easy-to-grip fitting for a leak-free connection to RV outlets. A rotating elbow easily aligns and allows a convenient connection and straighter flow. Titan provides more for your money and is another innovation from Thetford, the RV sanitation leader.
When you have a Truma AquaGo instant hot water system, you can expect to make a lot of new friends.
Welcome back to Rollin On TV. Let's continue our tour of the Quincy Mine Hoist Museum, including a look at its giant steam hoist and a trip deep underground. Copper mining was also vitally important to the development of the UP, and there's no place for a visitor to get a better look at what copper mining was all about than right here at the Quincy Mine Hoist Association Museum in Hancock, Michigan. And one of the centerpieces of the mine, in addition to the tours, is the giant steam hoist. The steam-powered hoist, built in 1918, was used to raise the loaded ore cars from the mine, as well as transporting hardware and miners down to the work areas. It's a highly impressive display. Visitors can ride the cog railway down to the underground tour and travel 2,400 feet into a mining work tunnel, or adit, and learn a bit about the technology and life in the early mines.
Amygdaloid comes from the Greek word for almond, which means it's forming in an almond-shaped fissure in the rock. He's going to hold this against the face of the rock. His 2 best buddies are going to take turns hitting the end of it with an 8-pound sledgehammer. And each time it's struck, which is hopefully every time it's swung at, he's going to turn it a quarter of a turn, and it's going to drill a hole into the wall. Nearest guy's going to be out of eyesight and earshot, running his own really loud drill. If everybody wants to plug your ears, I'll show you.
This museum does a fantastic job of showing visitors what the copper mining industry was all about in the early days. You never know what you'll encounter along the road in the UP. Springtime, summer, and fall in the UP are absolutely gorgeous. The wintertime can be a little bit invigorating. This is the Keweenaw snowfall thermometer, where they keep track of how much snow has fallen seasonally throughout the years. Now, the all-time record for low snowfall was 161 inches back in 1999-2000. Now, the record high snowfall is way up there at the top, 390.4 inches in 1978 and 79. Kind of makes the 5 or 6 inches we get at home look a little bit insignificant. You can find the giant snowfall thermometer on Highway 41 north of Amique on the way up to Copper Harbor. The picturesque town of Copper Harbor is located near the far end of the Keweenaw Peninsula. This destination marked the end of our journey in the UP. We stayed at Lake Fanny Hoo Campground, a fine facility that was almost deserted at this time of year. Seasonal closure was just ahead. Mountain biking is a big deal in Copper Harbor.
That's the one that's great.
The city even installed this public bike washing station, and rental bikes are available in town. Enjoying the quiet surroundings and lakeside views are popular pastimes here. Here in Copper Harbor, you can also catch a leisurely cruise to Isle Royale on the Isle Royale Queen 4. The night before we turned reluctantly back south, we were able to enjoy dinner at the Harbor House German restaurant, a favorite of ours in Copper Harbor. Well, it's been a really fun trip here in the UP. We've seen some really interesting historic sites, eaten some great food, probably consumed more than our share of pasties. And tonight, here in beautiful Copper Harbor, about as far as you can go in the UP without needing a boat, we're going to have dinner at the Harbor House restaurant, a little German place right on the bay with a beautiful view and fantastic food. So if you want to pay a visit to a part of the country that you might not have thought about before, give the UP a thought. It's a good idea, it's a great place to visit, and you won't go wrong. To learn more about anything you've seen on this show, log on to our website at rollinontv.com. So let's go inside and have a good dinner.
Coming up after the break, Jeff shows us how to check how old your tires are. At Jayco, we're a lot more than just an RV manufacturer. We're all about family, and we've been making family dreams come true since 1968. To see our complete product line and find your nearest Jayco dealer, visit us online at jayco.com or just log on to rollinontv.com. At Norco, we realize that some of your favorite RV destinations are off the grid. And Norco refrigerators are uniquely designed with that RV experience in mind. We call it Freedom Unplugged. To learn more about our Norco RV refrigerator line or to find a dealer near you, visit our website at norco.com.
Today's viewer mail covers a subject that's near and dear to most RVers' hearts, their tires. And it goes something like this. Dear Jeff, my favorite RV dealer tells me that even though my tires aren't worn out, I need to replace them because they're too old. Is that right? Can a tire in good condition be too old to use? Well, believe it or not, yes, they're right. A tire, even if it has tread left on it, can be past its useful lifespan. There are all kinds of environmental factors that affect tires. Ozone in the air, ultraviolet light from the sun, and age. Tire rubber simply dries out. And as it dries out, it's more prone to cracking and tread separation and so on, or major carcass failures. And none of these, of course, are a good thing. Now, tire manufacturers generally recommend somewhere between 6 and 8 years as the maximum lifespan for a tire. This, of course, varies according to the manufacturer. So the first thing you need to know to find out where you stand on your tires, so to speak, is how old they are. Now, there's all kinds of useful data molded into the tire sidewall. What you want to look for is the information that starts out with a DOT followed by a string of letters and numbers. Once you locate the DOT numbers on the side of the tire, you can get all kinds of information from them. Most important for us, of course, is the date. The first 2 letters, AP, indicate that this tire was made in Ardmore, Oklahoma. You can find a link to a complete list of manufacturing sites on our website at rollinontv.com. Now, the last 4 digits here, 3604, indicate this tire was built in the 36th week of 2004, which means since this is 2013, this tire is really close to its projected lifespan. Okay, now you know your tire's age. The next thing you need to do is an inspection. And it may look great at arm's length like these do, but you need to get up close and personal to learn the rest of the story. With a close look at the tire carcass, you start to see all kinds of little cracks and crevices here in the sidewall, cracks across the lugs and so forth, back up here between the lugs and even down on the sidewall. This is good indicators that there's something starting to go on with your tread rubber beyond just wearing out. For example, one of the things you can see is this particular crack right here that runs all the way along, and that's kind of right where the cap rubber meets the sidewall rubber. That could indicate separation starting to happen. Well, we hope this has been useful to maybe help you learn a little bit more about your tires and make a little bit better judgment as far as when you have to replace them is concerned. Knowing how to read your tire's age is useful in another way as well. For example, if you go shopping for tires and you visit a tire dealer showroom, you can look at the sidewall on the new tires and figure out exactly how old they are. That's very useful information because it means you don't have to necessarily buy tires that have been sitting in a warehouse someplace for a year or more. You probably wouldn't want to do that. Thanks for watching.
Never run out of propane again. With Level Check, there's no more guesswork. Just run the gauge over the tank, and when the light turns from red to green, you'll know exactly how much propane you have left. It's that simple. Level Check, another great product from Truma. For more information, visit levelcheck.com. For 50 years, Campers Inn RV has been your trusted resource for RV sales, service, and accessories. Now, with 15 locations along the East Coast from New Hampshire to Florida, we'll be giving you that same family-friendly service and be your trusted resource for another 50 years. For information and locations, visit us online at campersinn.com.
Hi, RV Cooking Show Evanne here with 2 quick, simple, and delicious snack recipes. Always a hit at a party, great used in cooking or sprinkled over dishes or even desserts, or simply nibbled on with a beverage of your choice. Today, I'm going to show you how to make custom flavored, sweet, and savory roasted nuts. Each batch in about 10 minutes flat. We'll use cashews and walnuts here, but feel free to substitute your favorites. So let's get roasting. We're going to start with our cashews, and what I've got is 1.5 cups of whole raw cashews. When we're done, they're going to be roasted cashews with smoked sea salt, pepper, and a little bit of cayenne for some kick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our raw cashews, I'm going to put them on an aluminum foil covered baking sheet. And we're going to put them in the oven and we're going to roast them at 350 degrees for about 10-ish minutes. They're going to get golden brown and they're going to smell fantastic. So while our cashews are roasting, we're going to prepare the walnuts. You probably figured out already that the cashews are going to be these savory roasted nuts. Our walnuts are going to be a sweet roasted nut. So again, just like the cashews, I've got about 1.5 cups of raw walnuts. This time I'm going to mix them up with some stuff before we put them in the oven. I've got some real maple syrup, and I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of maple syrup into our walnuts. Just like so. While I let the spoon drip, we'll close this up. And we're going to add some sea salt. A couple cracks of sea salt, not too much. And a little bit of this spicy cayenne pepper, again for a little kick. Put this right in like so. And we're going to mix it up. We want to coat all of the walnuts with this wonderful maple syrup, sea salt, cayenne pepper mix. Makes them fantastic. And once our cashews are out of the oven, we'll put our walnuts in. Okay, our cashews, I believe, are done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move our walnuts over here. Got this bowl to put our roasted cashews in. Perfect. They're just right. So I'm going to take my hot roasted cashews. Just going to put them right in the bowl. By the way, you want to keep a very close eye on the nuts as you're roasting them. In the last couple of minutes, they can burn really fast. So just watch them. What we're going to do next is we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. And while they're still hot, we're going to put in a little bit of our smoked sea salt. A couple cracks of fresh ground pepper. Be a little more generous with that. And some cayenne pepper. Again, that little kick that we talked about. Nice. And that's it for the cashews. We're just going to let them cool. Basically, they're done. Now we're going to get our maple walnuts into the oven. Same thing we did with the cashews. We're going to just put them on an aluminum foil covered baking sheet, and you can use the same one that you did for the cashews because you didn't have any flavoring on the cashews. It's gonna be good. Again, we're gonna pop them right into the oven, 350 degrees, about 10-ish minutes, and they'll be ready too. Okay, fantastic, these are done. And you want to be careful with walnuts. You want them to cook long enough that they don't taste raw, but you don't want them to cook too long or they get a little bit burned. The flavor combos are endless. Use herbs like rosemary or a little Greek seasoning. Add cardamom and vanilla to add depth to the maple version. Have fun with it. You're going to be a hit. I'm RV Cooking Show Evanne, and I hope you love these as much as I do. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you right here next time. Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show, and for additional information on anything you saw on the show, along with additional videos and stories, visit our website at rollinontv.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. As usual, this has been another fun production. For the latest up-to-the-minute RV news, visit our media partners at rvbusiness.com.